The FBI worked closely with major tech platforms like Facebook and Microsoft to suppress the Hunter Biden laptop story before the 2020 election, according to findings from a House Judiciary Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government report released this week.
Like, there was a lot of attention on Twitter during the election because of the Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York
we
Post.
too.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
So we took a different path than Twitter. Basically the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team. It was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant. So our protocol is different from Twitter's. What Twitter did is they said you can't share this at all. We didn't do that. What we do is we have, if something's reported to us as potentially misinformation, important misinformation, we also have this third-party fact-checking program because we don't want to be deciding what's true and false. And for I think it was 5 or 7 days when it was basically being determined whether it was false, the distribution on Facebook was decreased, but people were still allowed to share it. So you could still share it, you could still consume it.
So when I say the distribution is decreased,
it got shared.
How does that work?
It basically, the ranking in newsfeed was a little bit less. So fewer people saw it than would have otherwise. So it definitely,
by what percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's meaningful. But basically, a lot of people were still able to share it. We got a lot of complaints that was the case. Obviously this is a hyper political issue. So depending on what side of the political spectrum, you either think we didn't censor it enough or censored it way too much. But we weren't sort of as black and white.
The report details how the FBI met with big tech at least 30 times in 2020, warning of an impending hack and leak operation tied to Russian disinformation. In response, platforms implemented measures that limited the reach of reports on the Biden family, including a New York Post expose in October 2020. Facebook, now Meta, decreased the distribution of the story for several days, while Twitter outright banned its sharing. Internal communications from Meta reveal employees believe these actions would curry favor with an anticipated Biden administration. A WhatsApp message from then Facebook VP of Global Affairs Nick Clegg noted, "Our calls on this could color the way an incoming Biden administration views us." The report alleges censorship efforts were deliberate, with some employees expressing skepticism about the suppression. Joel Kaplan, then VP of Global Policy at Facebook, argued the content was newsworthy, stating, "Years of stories about the adult family members of presidents would suggest that content is newsworthy." Meanwhile, 51 former intelligence officials publicly labeled the laptop story as Russian disinformation 5 days after the Post article was published. House Republicans, led by Representative Jim Jordan, claimed this narrative was orchestrated to mislead voters and stifle dissenting views. This was just the beginning of big tech censorship at the Biden-Harris administration's behest, Jordan said in a statement. Neither Meta nor the FBI has provided new comments. The revelations have reignited debates about election integrity, governmental overreach, and freedom of the press.